This week's coffee is going to be Bolivia, Copacabana. And yes, that music is going to happen every time we say Copacabana. So hello everybody and welcome to episode 180! This is going to be a whole week of editing music in, I think. Thank you very much for the lovely feedback on last week's In My Mug. And thank you for the kind wishes about the marathon time of 26 minutes off my personal best and a finishing time of 4 hours and 20 minutes. I know I'm not as fast as some of you, but for me, I was very pleased and very proud, and yeah, it was great fun. And I really enjoyed Paris too, and Telescope and all the other things. So anyway, let's talk about coffee, because that's what we do here. So this coffee is produced by an amount, and that's as much as I know, small holders, near to the town, which is a very small town of Copacabana, which lies around about 200 kilometres from La Paz. Smack bang in the middle of the Caranavi coffee producing district, which is different to lots of the other Bolivians that we've had this year. This one is pretty much out there on its own. It's a very well known region. The slopes of this valley provide like the perfect condition for growing coffee. It has all of the things that you need, as in, you know, lots of different things, as in fauna, and as in diversity of wildlife and all of those things. So, as I say, it's produced by a small group of producers whose average lot size is around about 5 hectares, which is not very big at all. The range of the altitude is from 1,300, which is quite low for Bolivia, up to 1,600 metres, which is far more the normal entry point. But this means that it changes the profile of the cup a little bit, because the temperatures that they get are quite different. So the temperatures vary between 15 and 25 degrees C, I think, during those times. So sorry about the noise, it's going to be like that today. So that means that they get a slightly different cup profile. It's a mixture of red and yellow Caturra, and it's a organic certified coffee, one of the many Bolivian organics that have come through. The reason so many of these Bolivians are organic is the exporter that we work with have worked with the guys to help them get their certification, and they've kind of, you know, jumped and helped them with that. So the main harvest for this farm is from May to September. Peaking around about July, August time. All the cherries are non-mechanically picked as always. They're always hand-picked, fully washed, and either washed on the farm or at the wet mill in Caranavi. Again, I think this is why this is a slightly different profile, is that they actually are washed and submerged in water. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tasting it with you. So some numbers. Coffee is called Copacabana. Music again, great. Produced by lots of small holders, very small producers. The varietal is Caturra, and it's a mixture of red and yellow. I think there's also some Cataí as well, but I can't. If it is, it's a very small amount. Altitude 1,300 to 1,600 meters above sea level. Nearest town is Copacabana, in the region of Caranavi, and it's another one of our Bolivian organic certified. Right, so time for the map bit, I think. So roll that amazing music. It's the map bit. No expense spent, it's the map bit. So here we are, the map bit returns. We are zooming. I like zooming out of has-been towers. We're going to zoom across the Atlantic Ocean. We're going to go all the way across South America to the far Pacific coast of Bolivia. Well, actually not a coast, because Bolivia is, of course, landlocked. All of our coffees have to come through Peru to get to us here. you can see all these bulk of names all to the right, and Copacabana is pretty much on its own. This is the town of, because as I said, we don't have necessarily all the lots of information on Copacabana that we would necessarily like. So because it is smallholders, and this is what happens with smallholders. It is in the district of, I want to say Carico, and it's not. It is Caranavi, which is, Carico is very close to Caranavi. This is the route from La Paz along the Death Road, which is quite a famous landmark. Anybody who saw Top Gear last year, I think it was, will see them going through this very dangerous road where there were many fatalities, and this is on the way to this district. They do have a new highway open now, which is not much better, but a little bit better. But yeah, so that was the map bit. It's the map bit. No expense spent, it's the map bit. So sorry about missing the map bit last week. It was really that I didn't have the time to edit. I had a lot of problems getting it up, as lots of you will have seen. So in my mug, subscribers will see that they have a little packet in their packs. The guys from this small cooperative have made some Cascara this year. For those of you who don't know what Cascara is, I am going to show you a video during the break while I go and make the coffees. But it's basically the fruit of the coffee cherry, so the outside of the coffee cherry, and it's been found that you can make a very nice tea from it. Very high caffeine brew, but very different to coffee, very fruity. So yeah, we're gonna taste that as we do the tasting here as well. So let's go on to this week's Wheel of Death. And the Wheel of Death this week is latte. Now, why have I put latte in? Because I do a cappuccino, and what is the difference between a cappuccino and a latte? I don't know. I'd really like somebody to email in and tell me. I think the lines of definition of what a cappuccino and a latte have become very blurred, and what used to be a latte, I think is now called a cappuccino. What was called a cappuccino when I first started drinking coffee, I only see really served at the chains, if you like. So cappuccino is meant to have more foam. Some people will distinguish in some coffee shops, and they are wrong to do this, by putting chocolate on and call that a cappuccino. I don't need chocolate on my coffee, thank you. But yeah, for me, I guess the definition is it's going to be a little bit wetter. There's not going to be quite as much foam. There'll be a much thinner line of foam than I would have with my normal cappuccinos that I pull here. But in essence, they're pretty much the same thing. And anybody who tells you that they have a definition that is very fixed and firm are telling lies, because I think that it changes from area to area, person to person. But I am going to make a wetter coffee. Why did I put that in Wheel of Death? Like, it's just going to cause so much pain every time I bring it out. But there we go. So I'm going to wipe you on pause. I'm going to go and make tasty and delicious coffee. I'm also going to go and make tasty and delicious Cascara. So I want you to watch this video so you can make the Cascara at the same time too. And I'd like us to all come back, reconvene here in 5 minutes with brews, and we shall taste together.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the second in the series of the Has Been Brewing Guide. Today we're going to be talking about Cascara. Cascara is the fruit that surrounds the coffee seed, and is normally a waste product, but at producing countries it's often drunk as a tea. Today we're going to show you how to brew Cascara. So to make this super caffeinated brew, we're going to need some things. First of all, a teapot, or if you haven't got a teapot, use a French press or a Chemex. You're going to need some scales, told you last time you should have bought these, some Cascara, a kettle, and a cup. Step 1, boil the kettle and then let the temperature drop down to around about 90 degrees C. Step 2, weigh out the Cascara. Now I'm going to make a brew of around about 500 ml, so I'm going to use 12 grams of Cascara. Just remember you need 24 grams per litre to get the right water ratio. Step 3, add the water to the Cascara and leave it to brew for 4 minutes. Step 4, while you're waiting those 4 minutes for the brew, heat the cup. Warm cup is always going to be better for the final brew. Step 5, pour and enjoy. But just remember, don't have this at bedtime. I hope you enjoyed this brewing guide, and I hope you'll take a look at some of the others that we've done. And just remember, life is too short for bad Cascara.
Okay, so I'm back. I'm going to dive straight into the espresso. Hope you like the Cascara video. Now, as an espresso, I like it. I think it's a bit too bright. I get lots of citrus, and it's a bit too tarty for me. I know it's going to get better, but as an espresso, it's just maybe a little bit too much. You may like it. It's just me. So here is my latte that looks exactly like a cappuccino, without latte art. I can't do latte art on I can do latte art on a latte. Duh. Oh well. So it's getting better. What I'm getting is a little bit more. It's cutting through. It's coming through because of that acidity. Peaches is a descriptor I get big time on this, and I know I'm going to get it even more so on the brood. But peaches, star fruit, those kind of like tart, bright, interesting citrus flavours. So into the brewed coffee. Now this is where I think it excels. So I had a phone call from a friend who bought some of this and asked me if I'd misbagged it because it tasted like Kenyan. I was going, no, it kind of tastes a bit Kenyan-y, and it really does. It has that bright acidity, that interesting depth, also a little bit of a creamy edge. I used the worst descriptor I've ever used for this, and I apologise, but to this day it still fits, that it's kind of like sunshine. Oh, did I really say that? But it's really bright and it's light and it's got all of these yellow kind of flavoured fruits going on, so peaches and apricots, and it is just like sunshine in a cup. And it sounds corny, I know, I apologise, but really is that bright, light, zippy kind of flavours. If you think I'm mad, you can say so in the comments. Yeah, I can already see some of you typing at your keyboards. Okay, so the Cascara, we of course have to have a red teapot. It's the law. So this Cascara is the first that we've ever had from Bolivia. Oh, crikey, look at that. I cut myself on the teapot, on the metal thing. Caution, tea can kill. Where was I? This Cascara, first we've seen from Bolivia. I am told that it is drunk in Bolivia, but I was also told it was drunk in El Salvador, and then when I asked everybody, they just burst out laughing at me. But Bolivia does seem like a place that it could be, because it's not a particularly wealthy country, and I can see this really fitting into the culture there much more than I can El Salvador, which is very Americanized. So it's very different to the El Salvador Cascaras we've had, though. If you're an In My Mug subscriber and you've opened up your pack and you've looked at it, and it's very dry, like very, very dry. Dried much, much more than the El Salvador ones that I've had. And it does give you a slightly different cup. It is naturally high in caffeine. We have done some spectrometer tests, not on this one, on the La Lujon from El Salvador. And it showed that it had very, very high levels of caffeine in. The initial tests actually proved that it didn't, and then we sent off another set and it proved that it did. We think there was a mistake in the first test. So, I'm going to be getting all of those results, and I will do a blog post on them at some point in the future once I get the final results on them. But the reason we had it tested was, for me, I taste the caffeine in it. So, you feel it when you drink it. You come away feeling a little bit more wired than you were. So I guessed it had to have some. So hang on a second, look. Still bleeding. I suffer for you guys. So let me dive into here. Let's hope it doesn't taste of blood. So, very, very different to the Cascara of El Salvador. I get like the biggest oranges, like Jaffa oranges, and it really, really is like orange flavoured syrup. It has the typical Cascara kind of pithy kind of, not astringency, because it isn't, because it's very refreshing, but it has that, like if you chew on pith of an orange, and it's probably good because it's an orange, you get that little bit of a drying, but then you get the juiciness come through of the actual brew. I find it's an absolutely fantastic palate cleanser. So when I'm cupping, as if I need more caffeine though, but when I'm cupping and my mouth is getting a little fatigued with flavour, I find a little cup of Cascara can, one, give me a zip to get me going again, but also just cleans up my palate big time. So, and that is the Cascara. I'm bleeding to death. I really should re-record this, but I'm not going to because we don't do that on In My Mug. So, oh yeah, also the reason for the Copacabana is that every single bag that you receive from Copacabana from this roastery will have been sung to by Andy and Roland, and if not by Andy and Roland, then by the packing team, because every time this coffee comes through, all I can hear in my office is the Coco. So that's why the music's in there. We've been saying ever since we first got it, when we do it, we have to play that music at some point in there. So listen, thank you very much for joining me. Oh, no, I'm not going to do the numbers. You know the numbers, I've told you already. Thank you very much for joining me. Do remember, life is too short. I should know. 'Cause life is too short for bad coffee. Do 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 do.